All right, welcome back to WMMA now with your host, Chuck Stevenson, and welcome to the weekend review for April, 9th to 11th of 2021. Had 3 different ladies events I covered this weekend, and we're going to go over them, and then we're going to talk about some various things going on as well within the women's division. It's going to give it a minute or so, wait till I get a couple people in here. I know that there are some other, weekly streams that go on at this time, so just going to wait a minute and see what we get. All right, we got somebody, so let's get started. So for the first fight we're going to Bellator 256, which I believe was in at the Mohegan Sun. Had, 4 ladies bouts on this card? Diana Avsaragova defeated Tara Graf via KO at 29 seconds of the first round. Wow. Did not expect this from Avsaragova. I don't think I picked either one of them to win this fight. I kind of figured Avsaragova would pull it out, but not enough to pick her, and I did not expect a 29-second KO, especially from someone who's primarily a grappler. Very nice KO win. The big question is, who can she do this against fighters of any caliber higher than Tara Graf? Well, that just remains to be seen, but very excited, and she can grapple, she can knock girls out, and she's got the X factor, if you know what I mean. Avsaragova is going to have it going for in Bellator flyweight. That's for darn sure. Then up at featherweight, Talita Nogueira defeated Jessica Borg via unanimous decision. Nogueira climbed to 8-2. Borg fell to 3-3. This fight was it was kind of boring. I figured Nogueira would win. She was bigger. She was stronger. She had more experience. Honestly, it was no surprise that she pulled off the win here at all. I mean, this was just kind of like a, what do you call it, like a comeback fight, really, because she was on a 2-fight skid. I guess you could call it like a comeback fight, a tune-up fight, whatever you want to call it for her. And that's nothing against Jessica Borg. It's just she was going in there against a way more experienced fighter and had that size to boot. Then at featherweight, Kat Singhano defeated Olivia Parker via submission due to armbar. 2 minutes, 56 seconds of the first round. Singhano climbed to 12-4. Parker fell to 4-2. And this was another one. This was basically a tune-up fight. Parker really had nothing for Singhano. She had a nice sweep, but then she basically put herself in the perfect position for the armbar. And I don't know, one of the coaches was shouting out armbar's there or something, and I don't know if it was Parker's coach telling her to watch out for it or if it was Singhano's coach telling her to look for it. If it was Parker's coach, then he's a dummy because he basically gave it away. If it was Singhano's coach, then he did a good job because her arms were there to be grabbed and barred. I don't rate winning this fight very high, though. Like I said, this is a tune-up fight for Kat Singhano, and they're going to push her against the winner of Cyborg versus Smith, which is basically going to be Chris Cyborg, and then they're going to push Singhano versus Cyborg because Singhano was the last fighter to beat Amanda Nunes, and they're going to push the heck out of that for that fight. So don't be surprised when that happens, because it's plain to see. I mean, they don't even try to hide that that's what they're doing. Then at flyweight in the co-main event, Liz Carmouche defeated Vanessa Porto via unanimous decision in a fight that was honestly, utterly forgettable. It really was. If Carmouche didn't have the strength that she has, she would not be nearly as good as she is in 2021. She mostly gets by on just out-muscling opponents anymore. If she can't get you down and she can't outstrike you, which there's very few opponents Liz Carmouche can outstrike. She definitely didn't outstrike Vanessa Porto, although Vanessa Porto was hesitant for some of the striking because she was wary of the takedown. But if Liz Carmouche can't outstrike you and she can't take you down easily, all she's going to do is wall and stall. That's all she does. boring, boring, boring. I thought Liz Porto had a somewhat smart game plan, but I don't think she stuck to it very well. She basically got sucked into fighting Carmouche's game plan. So, yeah, boring, boring, boring. And they might match up Carmouche next for the title. Scott Coker was kind of like hemming and hawing about it in the press conference, which might be a good thing because who wants to see that? Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who they match up against Velasquez for the title. Looks like we got Judy V in the chat. That was back in early in Amanda's days. It was a long time ago, but yet people still talk about it because, well, that was the last big thing Singhano really did, and yeah, last loss of Amanda, but yeah, that was the last big thing Kat Zingano did. So and they still talk about it. And they'll talk about it until either of them retire. Then over in France, we had a French event, FFA Challenge 1, Soirée de MMA. One bout in the main event, Rizlan Zoak. I didn't find the results for this yet, but I'm pretty sure Zoak defeated Senna van der Veerdonk. So Rizlan Zoak would have climbed to 4-2. Senna van der Veerdonk would have fell to 2-1. I didn't see the fight. Haven't found actual results for it, so I can't really comment on it. But if Zoak won, that's actually a good thing for French MMA, particularly the ladies, because she was one of the earlier French fighters a few years ago to travel outside France and start fighting MMA. So that's a good thing for her and French MMA. And then finally for the weekend, UFC on ABC 2. Unfortunately, we lost Norma Dumont versus Erin Blanchfield. Dumont was heavy again by like 3.5 pounds. So this is the second time in a row it happened for her at UFC, in Nevada. The NSAC or NAC, whatever they call themselves now, canceled the fight. Said, no, we're not going to do it. So Dumont has either two options. Well, she might have two options. She can move back up to featherweight and fight in the UFC if the UFC decides to keep her. If not, then she's going bye-bye. She's probably going to have to fight featherweight somewhere else. If the UFC keeps her, I have a hard time seeing who they're going to have a fight at featherweight. I really do. On the bright side, young prospect Erin Blanchfield is now in the UFC, so that is a very good thing. She is definitely a legit prospect in the flyweight division. Blue Dash, welcome to the chat. I think it was kind of a good thing that fight didn't happen for Blanchfield's sake. Short notice and size disadvantage. Yeah, it could have gone very bad for her. Definitely could have gone very bad for her. What's up, the brother man? Welcome to the chat. The fight that did happen, Mackenzie Dern defeated Amanda Nunes in a strawweight bout via submission due to armbar, 4 minutes, 48 seconds, first round. Dern climbed to 11-1. Nunes fell to 10-7. So Dern definitely worked on her takedowns, which is very good to see. I have to watch this fight at least 2 more times, I think, before I can really say anything about it. Here's the big thing about this fight that leaves a big question for me. Okay. Nina, Nunes, Ney, and Saraf hadn't fought in almost 2 years. Almost 2 years. What does this really tell us about Mackenzie Dern? For me, it tells us very little. I mean, if we were talking, she was facing the same Nina that had just beaten Claudia Gadelia and had a tough fight against Tatiana Suarez, and Dern beat that version of Nina, then yeah, we could legit say that, oh yeah, she's a top 5 fighter, possibly. But Nina's not that same fighter. She's been off for 2 years. Now, I picked Nina. I did. I'll admit that. And I was dead wrong. but this still leaves a lot of questions for me than it does answers. They'll probably move Dern up to number 5 in the rankings because the rankings are goofy like that. They seem to think that if you beat whatever number you are, then you automatically replace them, which is goofy. You know, ranking should be based on an accumulation of wins. I don't know. To me, the verdict is still out on Mackenzie Dern because she doesn't have a whole lot of good wins. I'll say this is her second best win right now. Her best win was beating a healthy Verna Janjadova. Beating Verna Janjadova, who was doing all right and in full health and an active fighter, to me, is a lot better than beating a fighter coming off of a 2-year layoff. Really thirsty tonight. So, yeah, for me, the verdict is still out on Dern. I think she could still be good. And, I mean, obviously she's great, phenomenal on the ground. Her striking still needs a lot of work. She basically has the Habib game plan of just coming forward, being very aggressive, and it throws people off because they are leery of the takedown. Well, the question remains to be seen whether or not she'll be cut. It's a big question. Thank you for the super chat, the brother man. Blue Dash says, I think Dern versus Rodriguez would be an interesting fight. Yeah, I think that'd be a good one. Rodriguez is one of those fighters. She benefited from a weird uptick in rankings. She beat the lower-ranked Amanda Hebos and moved up, I think, like 2 spots in the rankings. That was weird. So that is it for the weekend review. Short review. You know, I don't want to spend too much time talking about these. I might try to get to individual reviews. Yeah, it's possible. I can't remember when she had the baby exactly. So, I mean, she might not be feeling the effects of pregnancy, but I think it's safe to assume she's definitely going to be feeling the effect of ring rust. Anyway, let's talk about odds and ends. Bunch of fight announcements this past week and just some random stuff that I want to talk about. Judy said September. So, yeah, September to April, that's a reasonable recovery time. The brother man says December. So that is kind of fast. Anyway, Amanda Hebos versus Angela Hill got announced for May 8th. This should be a good one. I like this fight. I like this matchup. They're both close to each other in the rankings. Hebos needing a win after getting straight up embarrassed by Marina Rodriguez. And then Hill needs a win, losing 2 straight to Gedalia and Watterson. I don't think she's fought since then. Let me see. Oh, Hill just beat Ashley Yoder. That's right. But that win doesn't. All that did was stop this kid. Both of them need a good win, and a win over each other could be really good for them. Hebos will probably be looking for the takedowns, I would imagine. I don't think she'd be very smart to stand with Angela Hill. Angela Hill doesn't really have the power in her hands, but she certainly is going to land a lot of volume and just look to really piece up Hebos on the feet. So if I were Hebos, I'd be looking to take it to the ground against Angela Hill. Of course, Angela Hill's going to look to do what she does, piece her up on the feet. Like I said, I think it's a good fight. I think it should be a very good fight. It's an excellent matchmaking as well. Then Aspen Ladd is going to be taking on Macy Chasson. Apparently, Ladd asked for this fight. This goes down on July 24th at bantamweight. Been a while since we've seen Aspen Ladd. She had like 2 different ligaments repaired in one leg. I know like an MCL, maybe I don't know if it was an ACL, but this is an interesting matchup for her to ask for. I mean, granted, Chasson has been doing very well. She's been climbing the rankings herself. Let me look up Macy's record here. I mean, she's on a 2-fight run herself. Only dropped that decision to Lena Landsberg back September 2019. Other than that, she's undefeated in the UFC, besides that one loss. Just beat Marion Renault like last month. It's an interesting fight. Nice. It'll be a fairly fast turnaround for Macy. For Ladd, this could be dangerous. Shasan is big for the division. Of course, so is Ladd. But Ladd's coming off that injury. We don't know what she's going to look like after, a long time off since December 2019. So a year and a half since her last fight. And surgery, like major, ligament surgery. We don't know what Aspen Ladd is going to look like. If I were Macy Chiasson, I would look to do what GDR did. GDR kept her distance, kept her range, kept Ladd out on the end of her strikes, dropped her with that punch, and followed up. So we'll have to see. But I think that should be a good one too. It'll be interesting to see where Aspen Ladd is when she comes back. And I think Chiasson will definitely tell us where she is at when she comes back. So that's good matchmaking too. I got to give, I often question the matchmaking in the UFC, but I got to give them credit when it's due. So then Macy Barber taking on Miranda Maverick. That's at the same event, July 24th. This could be 3 in a row for Macy Barber. Very well could be 3 losses in a row from Macy Barber. Miranda Maverick, she's climbing. Barber's falling. Of course, Maverick hasn't beaten anyone better than, Barber has beaten. And Barber hasn't lost to anyone worse than Maverick's beaten. So we'll just have to see. Got 2 people who are, naturally athletic, naturally strong. Barber hits harder than Maverick does. Maverick has the ground game that Barber lacks. This will be one to see. This is going to be a test for each of them. Barber is going to have to really, really work on the holes in her game against Maverick. I'm not entirely sold on Miranda Maverick either, but I've never been sold on Macy Barber. So this would be like this is another one we get to see where each one's at. Because if Barber wins, Maverick's back at the drawing board. And if Maverick wins, damn, what are they going to do with Macy Barber? 3 in a row. I think this will be like the first fight in a while that Barber will come in as the underdog. I would not be surprised. Let me see if there's any odds out for this one yet. So no odds yet on Topology. Let me check out best fight odds here. Macy Barber, Miranda Maverick. Okay, so Macy Barber actually opened as a -210 favorite to Miranda Maverick's +180. Looks like it has already changed. Looks like Maverick's already looks like Miranda Maverick's already moved into the favorite, even just in a few days since this fight got announced. So it'll be interesting to see. Barber's really going to have to work on her takedown defense if she wants to beat Miranda Maverick. That's paramount for Macy Barber, is to work on her takedown defense against Miranda Maverick, because that's Maverick's bread and butter is her wrestling. She's worked on her striking a lot, but the wrestling and the ground game is still going to be her bread and butter. Moving along, Valerie Loreta's back too. She's taking on Hannah Guy at Bellator 258. Loreta's currently 3-0. Hannah Guy, if I remember right, is 2-1. So same amount of pro fight experience. Let me pull this fight up here real quick. Yep, 3-0 versus 2-1. This is going down Bellator 258, May 7th. So it should be another fairly winnable fight for Loreta. But we'll have to see because I haven't seen any of Guy's fights yet. So we'll see. Let's see. Hannah Guy's coming off a win over Vanessa Grimes, who was 1-4 at the time. That's not very. She has a split decision loss to Kayla Rocco. That's all right. Yeah. She's basically been fighting fighters on her level too. It'll be interesting to see. They're the same height, close in age, 26 for Guy to 22 for Loreta. Yeah, we'll have to see. Of course, Loreta, always popular, always getting a lot of attention. Started like her own fan page now, like probably making a ton of money off of that. Oh, no, they're not going to let Angela Hill go. I mean, she wins consistently enough to not let her go. Plus, she's one of the late notice warriors. I mean, she's someone who will always step up on short notice, and she's a company girl. I mean, they've tried having her on the analyst desk. You know, she's a company fighter. It would take a string of losses for her to be let go. And she's a striker. They're always going to favor strikers over grapplers. Yeah, probably another loss for Borg. Possibly. Loreta versus Baszler go after this fight. That'd be nice to see. We'll have to see though. I don't know. I don't think Bellator. They're the two. They're like the two pretty girls in the pretty girl division right now. Bellator might keep them away from each other. We'll have to see. Right, if Loreta wins. Yeah, we'll have to see. What's up next? The Deep Jewels 33 poster is out. And, you know, I'm not one to get all crazy and excited every time a new fight poster comes out. I mean, I'm already sold on the fights. I don't need a poster to get me excited. I do like this one, though. The red catches the eye. It says right up there what's going on. You got the strawweight title match up at the top, and then atomweight Grand Prix 2021 final. It tells you right there what's going on, and it's Deep Jewels 33. It's got the date and the location present. It's got all the fighters on it. To me, this is what I look for. This to me is what would draw me into a fight poster. It tells you exactly what's going on. And I gotta say, for a promotion that has a fairly low budget like Deep Jewels does, I don't know if they find cheap artists or artists that work on a cheap, but they consistently put out better posters than the UFC does. The UFC, I don't think they worry about the posters too much, but still, they're usually garbage. Of course, a lot of people, they like to talk about the old Pride FC posters back in the day. I never understood what people liked about them. To me, they were like abstract. You had to already know what Pride was to understand what was going on with the posters, but I like this one. Also on Deep Jewels, they changed one of the semi-pro fights. Sakurako is now taking on Yuka Okutomi. So this is a semi-pro amateur rules bout. But what I found interesting was that Yuka Okutomi, according to Deep Jewels' website, is a 3-time All-Japan sumo winner. You rarely ever hear about ladies sumo. It's probably not very popular even in Japan. But thought that her being a 3-time All Japan sumo winner it's pretty darn interesting. I mean, because you don't hear about lady sumo. XFC 49 in Australia goes down May 1st, and it is an all-ladies event. I reached out to them via Facebook today and said, hey, if you could get me a little bit more information on the event, like who the fighters are, how many fights are pro, how many are amateur. You know, I said I'd make a video about it. So hopefully they'll get back to me. We'll have to see. But they got a Muay Thai bout as the main event. I don't know who the Harburger is. Hills is Natalie Gonzalez Hills. She fought Angela Lee in one championship. I think she was like Lee's second one championship opponent. Ended up getting caught in the twister by Lee, but she has some decent striking. So this should make for a good fight. She was actually catching Angela Lee on the feet, which not that hard, but she showed a lot of skill in doing it. One thing I've seen from their Facebook and from their Instagram is that the weight classes that these bouts are going on run the gamut from like low, small, all the way up to big. They have an atomweight bout. They have a heavyweight bout. They've got bouts in between. Most of them favor the bigger girls, though, like bantamweight and above. So if you're like a fan of watching the higher weight divisions, then this should be an interesting bout for you. I don't know how it'll be viewable, but you can check out their Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube as well. Just look up XFC or XFC 49. Goes down. Excuse me. Goes down May 1st. Whew. Something didn't sit right. So I normally don't talk about one championship events if they're not featuring MMA. But if you're in the U.S., this is 10 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday, one on TNT2. And if you want to see a good example of ladies striking, Janet Todd versus Annalena Hogstad, Muay Thai bout, you got to watch that fight. You got to watch that fight, and that is on the televised proportion. That should be a very good fight. Definitely want to watch that. Janet Todd, she fought Stamp Fairtex twice, lost to her in Muay Thai, but then beat her in kickboxing. And then most recently, Todd, just like a few weeks ago, if I remember right, beat Ama Uniku in a Muay Thai bout. And Ama Uniku is a very promising young lady in women's Muay Thai. Very good fighter, very technical fighter. And Janet Todd knocked her down and won the fight. Janet Todd is, I'll never miss one of Janet Todd's fights. I mean, I'm not a super huge Muay Thai kickboxing fan. I do enjoy watching it sometimes, but Todd is definitely one to keep an eye on. Technically, no. They do have Colby Northcutt's fighting in, I believe, 2 more weeks. That one on TNT4 at whatever weight class that is, flyweight, bantamweight, 135, 145, whatever. Yeah, not at the moment. They don't have anything. One does have very interesting atomweight division with a tournament coming soon. Funny you should mention that, actually. Can't talk about one without talking about this tournament coming up. This, to me, is like the highlight of women's MMA for the month of May. After Zan Rose and Shevchenko, Andrade in 2 weeks, May is going to be big, particularly for atomweight divisions. You've got atomweight in Deep Jewels having their tournament, and then you got the opening round of one's atomweight Grand Prix. Granted, it is technically fought at strawweight, but they're calling it atomweight, so we'll run with that. But man, I've been watching some more tape on these ladies, and very excited for this. Mungbo versus Fogat. It'll be interesting to see if Mungbo can stop the takedowns of Fogat. And if she can stop the takedowns, what's Fogat going to do? That, to me, is the most intriguing part of that fight. Can Mungbo stop the takedowns? What does Fogat do if she can't get the takedown? Anderson versus Hirata. Anderson is coming off the longest layoff of anyone in this fight. Like, we'll talk about Ham in a second. Ham's coming off like a year and a half, but at least Anderson's been almost 2 years. So it'll be very interesting to see how she comes back. Now, she is now training full-time as a fighter for the first time in her career. That's big for her, for Elise Anderson. She moved all the way down to Florida, moved to Miami. She's training at MMA Masters. It seems like an upcoming gym. There's Kobe Northcutt there and some other pros. Itsuki Hirata, she's relentless. We know what she likes to do. We know what she prefers to do. She says she's interested in standing and striking with Anderson, though. So we'll have to see how that goes. She doesn't actually have a steady, regular gym to train at. She's considered like a free agent as far as her gym affiliation goes. So she moves around a bit. Does a lot of training with her brother, who's a fellow judo black belt. She has been working on some training at Crazy Bee alongside Miyu Yamamoto and Chiyu Park, who's training for the Deep Jewels atomweight tournament. So that should be good training for all three of them, really, because Park has the striking, Miyu has the wrestling, and Hirata has the judo. Boom, that's a good training trio right there, because you got somebody, each one of them brings something different than the others. So it should be really interesting to see what each of them brings in, but it'll be interesting to see how Hirata approaches this fight. Also, Anderson is the tallest fighter in this tournament bracket. Be very, very interesting to see how Hirata deals with a fighter who's that much taller and rangier. And you got the rematch, Rasohina versus Fairtex. The rematch, good fight the first time, pretty close. I think it was a lot closer than a lot of people are giving him Rasohina credit for. But Rasohina got that sub in the very last seconds of the fight. Stamp's coming out looking to avenge that win. Rasohina, of course, is looking to repeat. Should be another good fight. The first fight was very good. I just watched it again like a day or two ago. Should be very good. Then we got Sahi Ham versus Zamboanga. Ham moving up to 115 to fight for this. She's not going to be cutting weight for this fight. Zamboanga looking to stay undefeated. She's, I think, 5-0. This will be her toughest opponent to date. Before that was Mei Yamaguchi. Pulled a big upset against Mei Yamaguchi. It'll be interesting to see if she can pull another big upset against Sahi Ham. Also, I'm really interested to see what the size difference is going to be, if any, because Ham was fighting at legit atomweight and then super atomweight, which is only 3 pounds more, went from 105 to 108. Now she's coming back up to 115. I hope she's bulking up. It looks like she's trying to put on some muscle coming into this. And I think she might need it. But it'll be very interesting to see. Only the third time Zamboanga will be fighting an opponent with any wins on her record. Most of her record is against debutantes, or I think she had like one fight against someone with an 0-1 record. Then she came to one, beat Jiun Radzuin and upset her, beat Mei Yamaguchi and upset her. She's going to be looking to pull the upset against Sahi Ham as well. That'll be very interesting. I think that's all I have. So really all I have for odds and ends for this week. I've got a busy week planned. I'm going to try to have a Bellator review for tomorrow, a couple days later than I wanted it to, but I can't get any time off of work anymore lately. So it's hard to get like fight reviews or even anything done, honestly. But going to try to work on my Zahn versus Rose preview. I'm going to try to have that done either Wednesday or Thursday. Hopefully I'll have it out Thursday night. If not, then, we'll aim for Friday. But that's definitely one I want to get done, and I wanted to get it done a little more than a week out. I know people have been asking me about coverage for it, and I just haven't had time to really talk about it. But the next 2 days are definitely dedicated to, video study on those two. I'll probably watch Rose's fights tomorrow and then Zahn's Tuesday or vice versa. Be taking a lot of notes, working on that review, because that is the biggest women's fight so far this year. Definitely. By a country mile. That is the biggest women's fight to happen so far in 2021. So I want to get that preview done and done right and get it out a little bit early so more people can watch it. Then what else? So I'm working on something for May. I've got like a theme coming out for the month of May. It'll be fun, but it'll be very much in tune with what is happening with a lot of fights going on in May. Actually have someone working on a graphic for it for me. Hopefully I have full confidence that they'll come out with something really good, but that should make for a really good one. Very excited for that. Keep an eye out. I'll probably talk about it in the coming weeks, but May is definitely going to have a theme to it. I don't want to let it go just yet. I want to make sure everything's ready and wait for that poster and that graphic to come out with. And then finally, got a new fighter shirt, Lindsey Van Zant, Damsel. Then it has like all of her sponsors on the back. She says she has a fight announcement coming up. So very much looking forward to that. If the fight is in May, then it'll go right along with the theme. So that'll work out great. Also, I actually ordered 2 of this. I ordered the medium that I'm wearing, and then I ordered a large. I'm going to be doing a contest to give that away, and that'll happen sometime next month as well. So keep an eye on that. I haven't done a contest or a giveaway in a while, so this might be like a double one. So we'll have to see. But definitely going to be doing a contest to give away this Lindsey Van Zant shirt. So keep an eye out for that as well. Let's see what we got coming up this week. Let me pull up Tapology real quick here. You know what? Tapology. So the main fights this week, I already talked about one on TNT2. It doesn't have an MMA fight, but it has the Todd versus Hogstad fight, Muay Thai. Like I said, check that fight out. LFA 104, I believe, has 1 ladies bout. Sydney Trillo versus Melissa Parker, both making their debut, so nothing big there. Bellator 257's Friday has Vita Ortega versus Desiree Yanez and Julia Budd versus Diana Silva. So we'll be talking about those fights come Thursday night on the WMMA Scene Report. Ortega versus Yanez should definitely be a banger of a fight. Those two come looking to slug it out. So that should be a very good one. Also, Yanez's Bellator debut as well. And then UFC Vegas 24, Whitaker versus Gastelum has, I believe, 2 ladies bouts. Zerafan dos Santos coming in against Josiane Nunes. That's a bantamweight bout. Zerafan, the brother man mentioned it. I haven't had a chance to look up Nunes' fights. I know. I mean, look at her record here, though. 0-6, 1-0, 0-1, 3-0, 4-0. taken her a little bit of a while to make a step up. But Zarafan, she has the loss to Spencer and Nunes, moving down to bantamweight, taking on the debutante Nunes. Striker's House. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Interesting one. And then Jessica Penny versus Lupi Godinez should be an exciting one as well. Lupi Godinez, if you've never seen her fight, see if you can find her last fight against Vanessa Demopoulos for LFA should be on UFC Fight Pass. That was a banger of a fight. Early, was that this year? Ooh, that was last year, wasn't it? Yeah, that was in October. Dang, I didn't realize that was that long ago. That was a good fight. Could have been a fight of the year if it wasn't for Zahn versus Joanna. But Penny's first fight since almost 4 years. And she's on that losing streak. Probably this could be the last fight of Penny's career, easily. She's 38 years old, 3-fight losing streak. You know what? That's something I wanted to bring up. I keep seeing people talk about losing streaks, and they'll say 1-fight streak, 2-fight streaks. 1 or 2 fights is not a streak. 3 or more makes a streak. That's just me being nitpicky about stuff, and I see this all the time on social media and various web forums. People will say a 2-fight, oh, she's on a 2-fight winning streak. No, she's on a 2-fight run at best. 2-fight run, or she's on a 2-fight losing streak. No, that's not a streak. That's the beginnings of a skid, but it's not a streak. 3 or more fights makes a streak. And if you don't believe me, go watch the movie Major League. Lou Brown played the coach, and he talked about it. You know, he said, "We want to fight yesterday. We want a game today, and we want to fight tomorrow, and then one the same afternoon. That's 3 in a row. That's what you call a winning streak." Not a very good impersonation, but still, 3 fights in a row makes a streak. I just had to get that off of my chest because I see it all the time. So any other? Oh, there's three bouts on that card. I forgot. Cortez versus Kish at flyweight. Tracy Cortez moving back down to bantamweight, had a successful, had 2 fights in the UFC at bantamweight against Vanessa Mello and then Stephanie Edgar. Moving back down to flyweight. And let me tell you something. She looks in darn good shape for this fight. She was like real thick as a bantamweight. She is getting her weight down. And, man, she is looking in shape. Like legit, like in athletic shape for this fight. I mean, she's looking cut. She's looking lean. Cortez is looking in good shape for this fight. Kish is not an easy fight for anybody. Never has been. She's coming off that loss to Sabina Mazo via submission. What was that? 6 months ago? 7 months ago? You know, that should be a good fight because, you know, Kish is not a great fighter by any means, but she's not an easy fight for anyone pretty much. So very much looking forward to Cortez versus Kish. So let's go down. We've got some comments I want to go down. Like Desiree Yanez versus Ortega. I'm not sure when the comment came up, so you might have missed it. You got Ortega versus Yanez. Blue Dash says feeling Yanez. I wouldn't blame anyone for picking either of those two. Ortega and Yanez, like I said, they're both tough. They both come out to fight. I mean, they come to fight. Worried about her size though, because Yanez fought at strawweight. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Yanez is moving up to flyweight from strawweight. I think her last fight before signing with Bellator was at strawweight, and it was against one of Alexa Grasso's gym mates. Let me see if I can bring it up here. I can never remember the girl's name. Pauline something. Pauline Vargas. Technical submission due to injury. So Vargas dislocated her foot, her ankle, and won in the 3rd round. That was a good fight too. But oh, she had a loss to most. Oh, that's right. She fought Super Melly in a super close fight. A lot of people thought Yanez won that. I forgot all about that. Yeah, a lot of people thought Yanez beat Melissa Super Melly Martinez. And then they were supposed to rematch, and it got canceled due to COVID. Last March, she was supposed to fight in Combate in August, got canceled. Supposed to fight Ortega in October, and that got canceled all because of COVID. So, man, Yanez having bad luck because of the coof. The coof will get you. Judy V says thumbs up. Cortez, I agree too. Cortez has a lot of potential. She's working on some things and is improving fight to fight. Still, I think she has a long way to go, but she's exciting, and she has the X factor, as it were. So yeah, she's definitely a prospect worth looking at. Anyway, that's really all I have for it tonight. I got to get to bed. I got to start work at 5:30 in the morning, and it's 10:30 where I'm at right now. So, any final comments? Say it now in the chat. If you haven't yet, please give the stream a like. Go check it out real quick. Like. Oh, we only got 2 likes so far? Come on, people. You can do better than that. Come on, give the stream a like. Get the thumbs up going. Blue Dash says a lot of fun fights to watch this week for sure. Yeah, I think out of the fights coming up this week, they're more fun. Like, not so much serious, like, title implications or anything, but a lot of fun fights coming up this week. Ortega Yanez should be fun. Bud versus Silva, maybe not so much. But the UFC Vegas 24 fight should be fun. Cortez Kish should be fun. Godinez Penny should be fun fight. Dern versus Nunes. I'm interested to see just what Nunes brings. I know there's going to be let me look this up. There's like a huge height difference in this coming up in this one. Okay, I don't have anything listed, but having seen Nunes in photos against past opponents, I know that she's short. Sarah Farron is like 5'8", 173 centimeters. I know Nunes is a lot shorter than that. Good night, Judy V. Yeah, that should make for an interesting one. So yeah, some fun fights coming up this weekend. And then next week, weekend after, we've got Zahn versus Rose and Shevchenko versus Andrade. Serious fights there. I think there's one other ladies bout on that card. PFL has an event that weekend. No ladies bouts though. Let's see. 261. I think there's one other ladies bout. Yeah, Ariana Carnolosi versus Na Lian. That should be an interesting one. Lian is primarily a ground fighter. Doesn't look very strong. Whereas Carnolosi, I think she's like one of Andrade's training partners, or she has trained with Andrade. Just a tank of a fighter. Oof. Now Leon's in for a bruising possibly against that one. That's interesting. But yeah, that should be a good one too. Anyway, like I said, big plans for May, so keep an eye out on that. Doing a giveaway shirt and sometime next month. Keep an eye out on that. So yeah, keep an eye on those. Find many. Yeah, WLF is almost impossible to find. Like that is, they are a very closed organization. It's WLF is basically run as strictly TV programming for them. Like it is owned by whatever network that is. I think it's CCTV5 in China. Basically, what they do is they host a ton of fights in one day, and then they parse the fights out as like episodes. So you might fight on like May 1st, and then your fight doesn't get shown till like the end of June, and they keep you under contract to not talk about it. Like you're under contract to not talk about it or face penalties. You can't talk about the fights coming up. It's very weird. It's almost like being on The Ultimate Fighter in that respect, in that you go on, you fight, but then you can't talk about it at all until the fights are aired. So it's really weird, and it's being that it's in China, it's hard to get a hold of footage. Like they don't broadcast outside of China, which puts them behind that great firewall. So it's hard to find. Like Kunlun fight events are easier to find because they have an app. You can watch their events on the app. WLF are just good luck. So anyway, that's really all I have. Like I said, keep an eye out what's going on in May. Keep an eye out for the Lindsey Van Zant shirt giveaway. We'll figure out something. I'll make it fun. And then keep an eye out for, I'll try to do Bellator 256 review. I'll try to do all 4 fights in one video. Keep an eye on that for that tomorrow night. Anyway, if you're watching on a replay, thanks to those in the chat for watching tonight. If you're watching on a replay, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Like the video, guys. Help spread the word. Share it as well. And then if you haven't yet, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to WMMA Now, the most complete women's mixed martial arts dedicated platform on YouTube. Most of my video viewers are not subscribers. Let me pull that up here real quick. Audience. Watch from subscribers. In the past 28 days, 89.2% of viewers are not subscribers. So if you haven't yet, please subscribe. And more importantly, hit the notification bell. It'll let you know when I'm going live. At the very least, it'll let you know when I'm going live. Should let you know when I put up videos. It doesn't always work out that way. But definitely hit the bell for notifications too. And subscribe. And thanks for watching. And we'll see you next time.